Hey, you, non readers, there's a bad news for you, and it's true. Those days when you wearily stared at the only book lying on your table, by your bookshelf, by your bedside, and doing nothing are over. Now, listen to this, and don't miss it. Today, you'll be trained by the guy who walks, talks, and reads books. He'll do this, and your book is complete. So that your non readers can become readers. If you stick around till the end of this video, you will learn 4 important tips to become a reader. This process is not easy, you may think. Well, what do you think could be the reason? But before that, why would you want to read that book anyways? Let me tell you why. Let me begin by telling you my story. I was an 8-year-old boy lost in the maze of books when I first stepped into the library. As a kid, we need playground because from the moment we get up to the moment we go to sleep, we are being told what to do and what not to do. And these are our elders, our parents, our teachers who want us to follow their orders. Like we are some sheep that needs to be domesticated. That's how I felt back when I was 8-year-old. You must be agreeing with me on that point, at least the younger lot. I was a rebel and I didn't like classrooms at all. But when I first stepped into the confines of the library, it felt like a playground. It was big, it was colorful with books all around it. I wanted to shout there just like I would in the playground, but I couldn't because our librarian always shooed us away. So with not much of a choice left to do, I randomly picked one book which was colorful and it narrated a story of a boy on a rampage in his neighborhood. I kind of like that idea because that's what I wanted to do as an 8-year-old boy. And as I read the text, I really wanted to know exactly how he was having so much fun in his neighborhood. But it was not real fun like the one I used to have when I would go into my playground and play or watch cartoons on TV and enjoy that experience. Anyways, I took that book to my home for a week. When I got home, I went straight to my sweet grandmother's room and I showed her the book. And to my surprise, she loved the idea of knowing what's in the book. She said if I was educated, I would have known about other people's lives, their culture, their countries by reading the book. It got me thinking, if I could read this picture book to my grandmother each day, her wish will be fulfilled. At least she would know this particular story. So I read to her each day, and in doing so, I read to myself every day. My grandmother was overjoyed with this experience. Surprisingly, nothing changed for me. I still felt, why the book? Why not the playground? My mind wandered, and I kept asking myself this question. Since I did not have the answer to these questions, I went straight to my mother and asked her this question. Mother, why do I like playground and why my grandmother likes books? Mind you, this was a question from an 8-year-old boy to his mother. So she wanted to give the right answer. So she waited, thought, and then answered. But before I tell you her answer, I need to tell you something else. That something else is 4 points. And once you understand these points, you will have clarity about my mother's answer without a doubt. So here are 4 points. The first point is move your lazy bum and change your routine. Every time I'm inundated with work, I make it a point to change the way I start my day. I wake up early, put on my dress, lace up my running shoes, and off I go for a morning jog that clears my mind. You hit a refresh button that stays there in your mind forever. The morning rays, the chirping of the birds, and our connection with nature motivates us to do better. We are not different from nature, and all the elements of nature are within us. So if the whole earth, the creation, is so beautiful, orderly, and magical, why can't our work be? We can take inspiration from the nature which is made up of the same elements as we are, and our work can be great and magical too. Just think about it. The second point is rearrange your study space. Well, I have a separate study place for myself. However, it took some time to materialize and I did not have a study place for a long time. That's a separate story though. However, to elaborate on this point, what I want to tell you is that every time I don't feel like reading and I hit a plateau and my mind wanders in different direction, I do something. And then sometimes I have to force myself to do it. So I rearrange my study space from books to the table to the position where the lights are, and sometimes all the little items that I have in my study room, I keep changing it. My study room is my playground where I make my moves, and all the items there in the study room are reflection of my current mood, and it's also a reflection of my productivity. The whole place provides me with an energy and I feed from it. So it's really important for me to make sure that things change, and when the rearrangement happens, something clicks and I feel a different personality altogether. And the moment that happens, I know that I'm ready for a quick or long read with a cup of tea. And the third point is mental course correction. Mental course correction is a heavy word. I just invented it. What I'm trying to say here is that you will desire a lot of things during the course of the day. However, if you start early and start reading the book early in the day, it will be far easier to complete that book and begin on the reading journey instead of you trying to read that book, say, at 10 o'clock in the morning. If you start early, you will begin to push yourself in only one direction, and that is reading. And it will be the first thing that will come to your mind. So pick up and start reading the book that you really wanted to read for such a long time that you've not been able to read. Read the book that your subconscious mind tells you to read. And that will be my fourth point of discussion, training your subconscious mind. So read the book that you really want to read. Not because it's other people's recommendation on YouTube or Instagram, but because you want to read that book. I've read a lot of books that not a lot of people are aware of, but I still read them. And I'm really proud of having read them. It's not important that you read the most popular book, but what's important is that you read the book. And that is where the key lies in training or doing a mental course correction. So start with 1 page a day and keep pushing. Do not worry if you accomplish less initially. To motivate you, a quote by Leonardo da Vinci, and he said that great geniuses achieve more by working less. So you could be genius in the making. Think about it. I have seen a lot of middle-aged or youngsters trapped in the belief that book reading is something which they cannot do because it's past their age or they really don't feel like reading it. Big truth, that's far from the truth. Amazon Jeff Bezos said that you need to have that inner child. You have to develop a childlike ability in yourself and not be trapped by expertise. What he meant was you need to always question your present state, and you should have a beginner's mind in everything that you do. Meaning that if you have a beginner's mind and you really want to accept and read book, have that attitude towards book, I think you'd be able to read that book that you've been missing so far. Some people measure book reading with intelligence. However, this is far from the truth. Just like any other skill, it can be cultivated and developed. Number 4 is train your subconscious mind. Now, subconscious mind is a simple term. What it means is whatever you have stored from your past. It could be your feelings, it could be your fears, opportunities, accomplishments, perceptions about other people, failures, doubts, all of it that gets stored in a part of a brain which is called subconscious mind. If you store positive feelings which are actionable, your mind will respond accordingly. So train your subconscious mind into believing that. I will read that book. I'll complete that book. I'll be able to do that no matter what. If your mind starts resonating with these thoughts, then you will be able to read that book. Believe me. If you keep thinking, how will I get the time to read this book? I'm so busy, it's not possible. Oh, that damn book, I need to read it. How do I motivate myself to read that book? If these doubts linger in your mind, they'll go into a subconscious mind and you would never be able to complete this action. and then it'll just be a thought which, is without action. And you don't want to do that. An English philosopher, writer, and MP, Charles Buxton said, "You will never find time for anything. If you want time, you must make it." So train your subconscious mind to pick that book that has been lying there for a long time and start reading. That will be the biggest motivator once you pick that book and you start to read. I think now it is the right time to tell you about what my mother answered when I asked her this question. Why I love playground and why my grandmother loves books. And I was totally confused, that 8-year-old boy, remember? And she answered, "Why don't you make books your playground? Play, but not with your cricket bat or cricket ball, but with your words instead, and see where it goes." And the same answer I would give to all of you. Follow the book journey and see where it leads you. It has been a thoroughly enjoying journey for me since the time I picked that book with my grandmother when I was 8 years old. And I'm sure if you do the same, you would have an amazing journey with the book that you want to read today and that you've not been able to pick. And I'm sure that journey will be equally rewarding and enjoyable, where you make friends with words, characters, and the authors who have written these beautiful books. These writers have put in a lot of effort, and I think it is right time and it's high time that you read them. Guys, if you like these tips and if you enjoyed this video, then please like, share, and subscribe, and comment in the section as to what you think about if these tips are helping you. And I hope this becomes a truly memorable journey for you. Thank you so much.